Welcome to the Successful Business Planning 101 workshop. My name is Michelle Davis, and I am the CEO of Marketing Gym Solutions. And I help women launch a service based business based on their passion, even if they don't know where to start or they don't think they have the time to learn something new. And so today I want to share this free workshop with you, Successful Business Planning 101, simply because I think business planning is a neglected topic. Everyone wants to talk about starting a business, launching a business, but the only way to really launch a business with a foundation is to actually have a plan. And so in this workshop, I'm going to share with you why a business plan is important and also what you should include in your business plan. Because the reality is, if you want to sell your business in the future, there's certain elements that you need to have in place and be able to show a potential buyer for your business. Or if you want to seek funding, you have to have a business plan. And so in this workshop, I just want to go over what are the basic elements, how a business plan, helps you kind of, lay out the roadmap for your business, because that's really what a business plan is. It's a roadmap for your business. And when you don't have a business plan in place, you're just kind of flying it, blind in terms of how you're going to build your business and everything from, how you launch to how you market and the product and how you select your products even. And, one of the things that's becoming a common theme when we have business owners reach out to us, whether it's for a strategy session or some other service that we offer, the biggest thing that we see, at Marketing Gym Solutions is, the business owner doesn't have a business plan. And so when you don't have a business plan, you don't know where you're at, you don't know you don't know where you're going because you don't have a map. So in this workshop, I hope to help you kind of get a sense of why a business plan is important, how it can help your business, even if you don't even plan to seek out funding, you plan to fund your business, solely with your own resources. A business plan, you'll see in this workshop how a business plan can help you. So before we jump into the content about what goes into a business plan, I want to share with you why you need a business plan in the first place. And, I know you may be thinking, and, why can't I just start my business and kind of make adjustments later on and just kind of do things that way? And I think I mentioned before, a business plan is a roadmap. So when you launch your business and you don't really have a plan, you're launching your business kind of based on your gut feeling. And don't get me wrong, when I started my business, I actually had like this 1-page business plan, and it was fine to get me up and going. But the reality is there were so many missing elements to that business plan. And, really and truly, you really need to have a full-on business plan that helps you not just be able to lay out the foundation for your business and plan for your business, but a lot of business owners don't even know who they're targeting, and they're wasting their marketing dollars targeting the wrong people. And they also don't know how to state simply, in simple terms, what it is that their business does and why their business exists. So that is all part of what you get to do, or lay out when you develop a business plan. And a business plan functions as a crystal ball of sorts because, you're not looking at the here and now and what you're doing today. You're looking at how you want your business to evolve over the course of whether it's 1 year, 3 years, or even 5 years. And you get to kind of lay out, yes, I'm starting now off here as a solopreneur, but this is how I see my business evolving and growing in the future. In other words, you're building a foundation for scalability so you can scale your business moving forward. And specifically, a business plan helped you to accomplish several things that are crucial to your success, such as startup costs. I can't tell you how many I had sticker shock even starting my business, because you don't realize how much things cost, like, whether it's marketing, um, you know, getting, help, for your business, getting things done like your logo, your website, all of those things cost money. So it's important that you estimate your startup. You need to be able to project your revenues and your profits. You need to be able to convince investors, if you plan to seek out investment funding, that you're actually someone that they want to do business with, and most importantly, that they're going to get a return on investment from. You want to be able to compete with your competition right from the start. You don't want to waste time and waste money trying to figure things out and not put yourself or position yourself at a competitive advantage. You want to be able to anticipate the challenges you may face, because you're going to, when you develop a business plan, you're actually strategically thinking about your business. So you'll be able to anticipate some of the challenges you could face. Now, obviously, a business plan isn't foolproof. It doesn't prevent, bad things from happening in your business, but it does allow you to sit and really think very thoughtfully about some of the challenges you could face. And so with all of those things combined, are you starting to see the value of a business plan? I hope so. And so the next step, or the next thing you may be thinking is, how do you even begin to write a business plan? Well, before we get into what's included, let's talk about what you need before you start. And, the one thing you need is a realistic perspective of your business. You're not going to open the doors of your business today and be a millionaire tomorrow. It takes a lot of hard work, and it takes a lot of time to really build a foundation for your business. And many business plans can be wildly unrealistic in terms of the kind of profit you'll make, or some of the costs are estimated way too low. And so when you want to definitely have realistic expectations for your challenges, for your costs associated with your business, and also in terms of what kind of profit you stand to make and when you will actually profit from your business. And in order to be effective, a business plan absolutely needs to be realistic. And it's important to be thoughtful, methodical, and careful as you put together your business plan, because you want to make sure that you're putting together a business plan that's going to help your business succeed. And it's possible that you may put together your business plan and then realize that the potential outcome isn't as bright as you initially thought. Maybe you need to tweak your business plan, or maybe you need to rethink your initial concept for your business altogether. And at a minimum, your business plan should convince you that you'll succeed. If you come away from the whole business planning process and it seems like things aren't going to flop, or are going to flop or not flow in a way that you're expecting, you may need to take a step back and kind of rethink things and make sure that you're moving forward with a concept and with an idea that's going to be profitable. So take the necessary time to do the market research, analyze your financial needs, and map out your strategy for the future. So let's talk now about what you want to include in your business plan. And the first thing you want to include in your business plan is an executive summary. All too often, entrepreneurs are unable to simply state what it is that their business does. Who do you help, and what do you help them achieve? So an executive summary is essentially, can be used as your elevator pitch, so to speak. So it's a succinct summary of your business in a nutshell. And just because your executive summary is short doesn't mean that it's not important. And the Small Business Administration actually recommends that your business plan at a minimum contain these 6 things: mission statement, general information about your business, company highlights, products and services, financial information, future plans. In other words, where do you see your business? How do you see your business evolving in the future? And the executive summary is simply the introduction to the rest of your business plan. So you want to make sure that you give your reader an incentive to continue reading your plan. So you want to make sure that your executive summary is thought out, is short, it's succinct, but it gives the reader what it needs to know in terms of what it is that your business does. And you want to make sure, in addition to being short, concise, and crisp, that your executive summary is compelling enough to keep the reader wanting to read the rest. And you may want to consider writing your executive summary after you've written the rest of your business plan. Just simply because, because you're creating this succinct, compelling statement, you may want to write the rest of your business plan first, because then you can come back and kind of summarize everything while it's kind of fresh in your mind, instead of trying to create a summary before you actually create the plan. So you have the executive summary. So what is your company overview? Well, your company overview should include the industry you're in, your primary customer base, the big problem that you solve for customers, and how you solve that big problem. And I must say, even, whether it's in some of the Facebook groups that I'm involved in, or just on other entrepreneurs that I come in contact with, they have no idea who their primary customer base is. And they think it's everyone. They think it's everyone. So it's anyone that needs the service. And the reality is your customer base is not everyone. You have to really narrow that down and think about what service you provide and who you solve a problem for. And that is your customer base. And so many entrepreneurs don't know this because they haven't taken the time to really put forth a plan to help them strategically think about what it is, what service they offer, and who's going to benefit most from the service, and the pain points of that customer, and at what they're actually solving for that customer or that client. And so when you sit down and you think through these things, you're essentially explaining the reason for your business's existence. Because if you can't say what problem you're solving, what are you doing? Why should there be a place for you in your industry? So you definitely want to make sure you focus not just, yes, you want to know who your target audience is, but most importantly, what problem are you solving for them? People don't buy products and services, they buy the solution. You want to make sure you really are able to define that for the service and products that you sell. And the overview section functions as your unique value proposition. You want to demonstrate that you have a place in this in your industry. So by answering these 2 questions, you can generate your company overview, which is who do you serve and how do you serve them? In other words, what do you help them accomplish? What is the big problem you solve for them? And ultimately, your business exists to solve a particular problem. So keep that in mind. That is the case with whether you're marketing, whether you're creating a business plan. It's what problem are you solving for people? So next, let's talk about market analysis. And with market analysis, this is something you need to do with your business, but also with any programs that you intend to launch as a part of your business. So if this section is done properly, it assures readers that you know what you're getting into. You actually know what's happening in your industry. What is the pulse of your industry for a problem you're trying to solve? And so in this section, you would include your key industry information, like who else is in the industry, and what's happening in the industry, and what are the trends. Your target market data. What do you know about who it is you intend to serve? What is the size of this market? Is it a small market? Is it a large market? How do you justify, how in terms of numbers, how many potential people can benefit from, the problem that you're solving? And out of all those people that could potentially benefit from the problem that you're solving for them, what is your market share potential? In other words, how many people can you expect to buy into your service, through your company? And what are the barriers to entry for you to get into this market? And this could be anything from, what kind of hurdles do you need to jump? Do you need a certain level of funding? Are there certain networks that you need to be a part of? Any areas of opposition that you may face, this is where you want to include it in terms of barriers to entry. And you want to know who your competition is. So a lot of business owners are afraid to actually think about their competition. You should know your competition very well. You should know where they get their traffic from for their website. You should know how much they're selling their products for. You should know what services they provide, and how can you one-up them on what they're providing. How can you offer something different to the market that your competitors are not offering? And this section will take a significant amount of research, but it's time well spent, because when you go and you present your business plan, and when it's well done, any potential funders or whomever it is that you're working with, they will take note that, hey, you've done a lot of research and you're someone that can be taken seriously. And even if you don't intend to seek out funding, you need to know who your competitors are. You cannot establish pricing. You can't establish offers for your business unless you know what's happening in the market, what the needs are, how many people could potentially benefit from the solution that, or the problem that you're solving, and what is your market share potential. You have to know these things, whether you want to seek out funding or not. So let's talk about organization and management. So organization and management is essentially how do you see your business evolving? And I know when you're just starting out, it's hard to kind of see your business beyond you, because you usually you start out, you don't have a lot of money, it's just you doing everything, all of the services. So it's hard. It could be hard for you to envision your business growing into an actual company. So, but you want to really kind of think about how your business will evolve, both at the onset when you launch and also as you move through the years. So you want to start with the general structure of your business, both in organizational terms and in legal terms. So in legal terms, you want to think about, do you want to be an LLC? You want to be an S Corp, a C Corp, general partnership, or a sole proprietor? And so I am not an attorney. So to better understand these legal terms, you definitely want to seek out legal advice and do your due diligence in your research. Because let's say, for example, a lot of people run out and the first thing they do is establish an LLC. You don't know if an LLC is the right setup for your business until you do your due diligence and do your research. So you want to make sure that you are establishing the right legal setup for the business that you are creating in your industry. And also, a lot of people set up an LLC without realizing that they can be taxed as an S corp. So you definitely want to fully understand, at what point you need to set up your legal setup, and what type of legal setup will be best beneficial to you as business for the industry that you're in, and also tax wise. And make no mistake, all of these setups have a cost associated with them. And so you want to definitely set yourself up for success by making sure you set yourself up correctly from the onset, so that you're not like, years down the road you're finding out you set up your business in a way that's not going to work out for you, or, for the business type that you have. So do your due diligence. And another key component, when you look at the company overview, and this is more so if you plan to ever seek out, whether it's angel investors or, an SBA loan or some other, business grant, you want to lay out any background of key members of your team. If it's just you, then just lay out your background. What is your unique experience that you bring to the table? If you're a C corp, then maybe you have a board of directors, you have managers, you have partners, and any other essential people. So you just want to lay out the background of these key members. And so, like I said, if it's just you, it's important to really think and reflect on your background and what you bring to the table, and how you connect to the overall mission of your business. So, you want to highlight any unique skills and licenses and quality, anything that you're bringing to the table. You want to make sure it's outlined in this. And this part is especially, like I said, important if you're seeking funding. If you're not seeking funding, it's still critical to be able to identify what your unique skills are in your unique experience. And, this is also the section where you want to describe any key hires that will be necessary. So even if you're not seeking funding, think about, if your business, in a perfect world, what would your business look like? And what key hires would you have? So let's say you operate a social media consultant agency. Well, what are your key hires that you're going to need in a perfect world to really and truly have a fully operational business? While it may be just you today, eventually you may need, maybe you need a sales team, someone to actively go out and get leads. Maybe you need an assistant, a virtual assistant, to help you with the day-to-day functions so you could focus on the high-level activities as a CEO. Maybe you need the individuals that are going to, let's say, actually be the social media managers. Whatever those key hires are, think about them. Because remember, you're projecting not just for today, but for the future in terms of how your business will evolve. So you want to make sure that you lay everything out in terms of, what key positions your business should have or will need in the future. Next, let's talk about products and services. So when you think about your products and services, you want to start by describing what exactly it is that you sell and the specific need it will meet. Because remember, you're solving a problem for a particular group of people. So you have to not just know who those group of people are, but you have to talk about, what is it that your product or service does to meet the specific needs of these people. And it's important to clarify exactly how your product or service will stand out apart from the competition. That's why the competition research is so important. It's so important to understand what offers you're going to, put together for for your target audience, or your potential customers. And it's important in terms of pricing and really being able to focus on the problem that you solve. So let's say if company A solves, one pain point, well, maybe you want to solve something that's not being addressed by that company A. And so that is where you begin to stand out amongst the competition because you're doing something different or you're able to solve a problem that they can't. And if you're creating something entirely new, it's important to explain exactly how your product or service functions and why it's valuable. So, people come on the market all the time with new products, things that have never been seen in the market before. So if that is what you're working on, you want to definitely explain how the service functions. And a perfect example of this is, different software. If your software does something that no other software on the market does, you want to definitely be able to explain how, your software functions and why it's so valuable in the market. And you want to share, and so by doing all these things, you want to first share what is the status of your product? Is it in production? Is it ready, for market? Like, where is your product or service in terms of readiness to get to the market? What are your development objectives? Are there different stages of development for your product or service? What are your objectives? What do you need to do to, fully have your product or service developed? Any proprietary information, do you have trademarks, for your, products or services? Anything like that, you want to make sure you mention it here. Your supply chain, whether it's e-commerce or if you're relying on a third party to provide, to help you deliver your service, you definitely want to talk about how that's going to work in this section, and making sure and emphasizing that there's not going to be a slowdown or what your alternative plans may be if, something shuts down or happens with that particular supply chain. How will you bounce back and keep your business going? And your product or service should really shine through in this section, because this is a chance for you to really show why this product or service is unique in a sense, and also why it's needed in the market. So now let's talk about marketing and sales. And so for those of you who don't know me, my background, when I first started out, I was coming from a nonprofit management background. So, marketing, we did marketing for, of course, our programs, make sure our programs were full, and to make sure we looked good to our funders, because funders want, especially if they're funding a new program, you have to demonstrate that the program does what it says it's going to do and provides the change or the outcomes that you claim your program will provide, right? So marketing and sales for business is quite the same in a lot of ways, except it operates a lot differently in terms of some of the metrics you may look at, and also how you go about marketing your business. So when you think about marketing and sales, you have to clarify how you will make customers aware of your product or service first, and then you have to clarify how you'll convince them to buy from you. And this is why you don't want to fly by the seat of your pants, because you have to, if you don't think strategically about your marketing, it's going to be very hard for you to project, your marketing costs or your startup costs for that matter. And just because you post, a product randomly on social media doesn't mean the product or service will sell. So you need to think strategically, how are you going to make people aware? And it can't be one method of, marketing. You can't be like a one-trick pony, because when something happens, that particular marketing option or that particular, let's say if you just use Facebook ads and your Facebook ads account is shut down for whatever reason. If you don't have any other marketing strategies in place, you're going to be out of business. And I think we saw this a lot with COVID. Business owners weren't online to the degree that they needed to be. And so you had some business owners that were already online and they were able to kind of flow with the market and kind of make, ride with the shift that they had to make and pivot. But then you had a lot of business owners that just couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. And because they weren't online, it was something new that they would have had to learn, and it was just too much for them. And so you just want to make sure that you have not just one strategy, but an actual strategic plan about how you plan to make customers aware of your product or service, and how you plan to constantly have your product or service in front of your target audience. So the first element in marketing, the first element in your marketing plan needs to be your positioning. And so when you think about positioning your business, you have to think, you have to look at your competition, and you have to, that's why that other, previously when I mentioned, when we're looking at, the market research, you need to know what your competition is doing. You have to know, are your prices within the market? What level of quality is already in the market? And what services are being provided? You can't have price your services blindly. You want more money, so you're gonna charge, whatever you want. And if you're going to engage in that kind of practice, people are not gonna, they're not gonna go with you, because the reality is, if they can find another company that does the same thing you do, and they offer, the same quality, they're going to go with that other company and pay a lot less money. So if you're going to offer higher pricing, you need to make sure you're positioning your company in a light that shows that you are a step above all the other companies out there. And you really have to do that through your marketing. Otherwise, you're just another company providing the same service that someone is providing much cheaper. So you have to really make sure that you're providing superior quality, superior service, your pricing is competitive, and that you demonstrate that in your marketing. If you don't demonstrate why your service is more superior, maybe you offer more, an additional service that other companies don't, whatever it is, make sure you can justify your price. Next, discuss the specific promotional methods you'll use to get the word out there about your product or service. And like I mentioned, you need to diversify your marketing. I see a lot of companies, they, either they use Facebook ads and they never get on anything else. It's paid ads, or they rely solely on social media. Social media is great, but you also have to have a strategy to effectively use social media as well. So, it's not enough just to open up a social media account and just post your products or services. You have to have a strategy. And you have to be clear on what metrics you're going to use to evaluate whether or not your marketing efforts are working. And after laying out your marketing plan, you need to discuss your sales plan. So the first thing you want to do is explain your specific sales strategy. Then you want to do, and let me just go back to this for a minute. So in terms of sales, how are you planning to get sales in, your company? How are you planning to get your leads in? Are you going to cold call? Are you going to have a sales team? Are you going to pay for advertising? You need to lay all of that out so that it's clear how you plan to get sales into your company. And like I said, whether you plan to seek out funding or not, you need to know how you're going to keep the lifeline of your business going. And the lifeline of any business is customers. If you can't get customers, you won't be in business. So you have to sit and think about how you plan to lay out your sales strategy. The next thing you want to do is talk about who will be doing the selling. So if it's your sales team, you want to think about procedurally, um, will your sales team be kind of like the initial kind of touch point of your company, and then they pass off the leads to you for you to close? Or are you relying on your sales team to do everything from A to Z as it relates to bringing customers into the company? So you definitely want to talk about, like, what is that process for you in terms of getting leads. And lastly, you want to lay out the budget you have for both sales and marketing. So that's why it's so important to not just have a diverse marketing strategy, but also a diverse sales strategy. And in the beginning, you may need to try different things and also try different platforms, and measure which platforms are bringing you the most traffic to your website, the most clients, as well. So as you get clients in, of course, you want to know and track how that client got to your company. Where did they come from? Did they find you on Google? Did they find you, on social media? And, you know, there's so many different marketing strategies, whether you plan to use paid marketing, Google advertising. There's also the whole Google suite that you can set up to generate, traffic to your website. And there's also, social media. So you have to kind of think what's going to work best. And you're going to have to test different things, which method and strategy is going to work best for you. So let's talk about financial projections for your company. So if you plan to seek out investors, investors will closely examine the section to determine whether they want to give you funding, because any investor wants ROI, which is return on investment. So you have to demonstrate them that you are worth investing in. And this is the same even if you seek out a loan. If you seek out an SBA loan, you want to make sure, you're going to be paying that money back. So you want to set yourself up for success by knowing what your numbers are going to be. So as you prepare this section, you want to include as much financial data as possible, such as income statements, balance sheets, cash flow statements, an operating budget, accounts receivable and payable statements, and documentation of any debt you're carrying. So even if you don't plan to seek out funding, you need to know what your operating budget is. You need to know what your cash flow is. You need to make sure that for all of the business that you're doing, that you have a process in place to get paid on those invoices. So even if you don't plan to seek out funding, all of these things are important for you to track and manage in your business. You have to know, going in, what it is you need to operate your business. What is the dollar amount? And you need to know if you're meeting it, throughout, not just at the end of the year when it's tax time, but you need to have systems in place to measure these things. And the only way to have systems is to know what you're measuring and to have these actual this financial data available to you. And if you're not sure how to create projections for your business, consider hiring an accountant or a financial advisor to help you. And wherever possible, use graphs and charts to provide a visual representation of your financial history. So now let's talk about your funding request if you're going to seek out funding from an investor. You definitely want to include in your funding proposal how much money you need. And for you to be able to accurately do that, you need to have your operational budget in place. You need to know, what is your budget? How much do you need to have for marketing? How much do you need, for your, different business costs? The tools that you may use for your business are factored into there. Everything that goes into the operation of your business. If you have a sales team, you have to pay them too, right? So you definitely want to know how much funding you need, but base it on how much you need to operate. And always, be a little, go a little bit over in terms of your ask. Because if you only ask for exactly what you need, you may not have enough where it's worth it for you to, to get the funding. So you definitely want to make sure you're asking just a little bit above or, moderately above what you think you need. And you need to think strategically in terms of long-term goals, in terms of how much funding you'll need down the road. And you always want to set yourself up, especially if you're looking at your business as evolving into a large operation. You want to think about the type of funding you desire. Do you want, you want to look at an investor or attract investors? Do you want to take out a loan to maybe, get your business up and going? And you also want to know the terms you're requesting. And if you're offering collateral to secure a loan, you want to include detailed information about that collateral, such as, the value, of course, of the collateral, and also, what the collateral is, where it's located, so that that's clear, to anyone who is funding your request. And you want to make it clear how you will use the funds. And that's why that budget is so, so important. And you want to lay out your future financial plan so that investors have a good idea of what they're getting into. Because like I said, they want to know that there's an ROI. They don't want to just invest blindly. And just like you're asking for money, there's, gazillions of other people that want those same funds that you're asking for as well. So you're competing, for, funding, whether it's an SBA loan or a private investor. You're competing for those funds. So you want to customize your funding requests to who you're talking to. And you want to make sure that you're speaking to what that investor or that loan provider is actually looking for. And in terms of how much funding you should request, that will depend on both your needs and your financial projections. You want to make sure that that your projections are realistic and accurate. So the final section of your business plan is your appendix. And so the reason you want to have an appendix is because when you're looking at the heart of your business plan, you don't want distractions. So the appendix is a way for you to highlight certain things without allowing it to be a distraction within the heart of the. So in the appendix section, you want to include your supporting information, your documents, everything that substantiates everything that you've written in the previous section. And this is where you want to include your credit history, your permits, your legal documents, your license, any licenses you have, any patents you have, trademarks, and any contracts that you have. And in all the previous sections, you try to paint a compelling picture of what your business is like and where it's headed. And the appendix allows you to give extra details and kind of go into detail and, with, kind of those visual elements and supporting documents without disrupting the reader of your business plans, their experience. Because otherwise, if they start seeing random things, pictures, photos, it can be a distraction instead of them focusing on, the heart of the plan. And at the beginning of your appendix, include a table of contents that corresponds to each section in the business plan. So now it's time to build your dream, right? Because, we as business owners are, we're excited to build our business, and we want to make sure we're doing it in a realistic manner. We want to make sure our projections are realistic. And most importantly, we really want to set our business up for success. So we definitely want to make sure we're building that foundation for our business. And sadly, not enough businesses have a business plan. They kind of start, they launch, and they think, oh, okay, this looks like this will make me money. And so that's the business I'm going to do. And if you don't have a business plan, the minute you have a challenge or something comes up, it certainly disrupts your dream, that's for sure. And so you want to be able to build your dream business. And creating a business plan will give you incredible clarity about any unique insight you have in terms of how you can take your business from launch to success. And if you're feeling overwhelmed at the thought of trying to, get everything done, trying to create this business plan and all the research that may go into it, just focus on getting one section done at a time. Just focus on one section. And as complete that section, move on to the next. Because, you know, the end result is going to be incredible clarity for you, your business, you as a business owner, but also anyone who is thinking of funding your business and anyone that is thinking of doing business with you. Because the other piece that you have to think about is, yeah, you may be a solopreneur now, but maybe you want a business partner and you want to leverage this business that you're building as, a prior success for people to partner with you. So the more clarity you have on your business and the more you work on building that solid foundation for your business, the better off, you will be. This is across the board, no matter what business you're in, whether you're a real estate agent, you're doing e-commerce, whatever the case may be, you want to have clarity on what your vision is for your business for the launch and also for the future. And before you know it, you'll have completed your entire business plan once you tackle, that one section at a time. And as you work on your business plan, keep the big picture in mind. Your dream business is just around the corner. So I just want to thank you for taking the time to be a part of this workshop. I'm so happy to have been your host and to be able to give you this important information. And I hope that the information I provided it to you today provided you with a tremendous amount of value. So if you want a template to write your business plan, I've included a link either above or below this video, depending on where you're viewing this video at. I've included a link for you to get an ebook and an actual business plan template. That way you have the layout of the business plan, everything from the executive summary to your appendix. And so it's a fillable document, so you can actually create the framework using a template, and you don't have to create anything from scratch. And you get an ebook to go along with it. So if that is of interest to you, simply click the link above. And if you want help creating your business plan and you don't want to DIY it or, on your own, feel free to leave a comment below or send a message, a direct message to me, and we'll be happy to get you going on getting your business plan completed. So with that being said, thank you once again for attending this workshop, and I want to wish you all the best.